everyone, this is Heather. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got a tutorial for you for a gift tag for your holiday packages with this adorable reindeer. And it is a double-sided tag, and if you're like me, you might still be wrapping presents. I'm not quite done yet, so I thought I'd share a tag tutorial with you. Isn't that cute? I love that deer. So I am using the deer from the Stampin Up Seasonal Chums stamp set that is from the 2017 holiday catalog. I'm also using the To From. If you like that snowman, check out my channel because I have a cute back and front acetate window card using that. And also for the pumpkin on my channel, I've got a treat tube with a tag from that. I absolutely adore this set. So we're using the reindeer and the to and the from. I'm also using the coordinating die from the die set that goes with the deer. And then I'm using some of the new Stampin' Blends markers, which are alcohol-based markers that have recently been released. And I am using ivory, sorry about the glare, bronze, and those are from the kind of the flesh tone group. And then I'm using the light cherry cobbler. This also comes in a dark cherry cobbler. I'm using the light today. And since we are using alcohol-based markers, you're gonna want memento ink. So what you need is 2 pieces of white cardstock that are just a little bit larger than the die cut. I've got this cut to 5 by 3 inches. And I have got a heavier weight cardstock and a lighter weight cardstock. The heavier weight for the outside of the tag and the lightweight for the inside of the tag. When I'm using alcohol-based markers, I like to use a little bit of a heavier weight so there's not any bleed through. I also just kind of think it just looks a little bit nicer on a good sturdy cardstock, but I didn't want the tag to be too thick, so for the inside I just grabbed just a standard weight cardstock. And so let's get started by stamping out, my little deer up there, stamping out the deer onto the cardstock. And like I said, since we're using alcohol-based markers, we want to be using memento ink, so I'm just using memento black. Stamp that on my cardstock, and it doesn't have to be centered or anything because we are going to be die cutting it out. It doesn't need to be straight. Get a good press on there so we get a good image. Isn't it cute? So the nice thing about this is that it stamps out top and bottom in one piece, so that when you die cut it, you just fold it over. There's no worrying about lining anything up because it lines up itself. So I'm going to be coloring in with the ivory Stampin' Blends marker the inside of the ears, the antlers, the spots on the back of the deer, and his little hooves. So make sure you do the front and the back of him. Oh, also too, oops, almost forgot. You know how a deer kind of have that little white patch underneath their tail? I wanted to add that as well. So also on the back side of his tail there, I'm going to add just a little bit of the ivory. Color in the spots and the hooves. And we're done with the ivory. I'm going to grab the light cherry cobbler. And I'm using the pointed nib. There's also a brush marker end on these markers as well, but for small details like this, I always like to use that pointier nib. So we're just going to color in the bow, and I'm not coloring in the jingle bell on the bow. And I'm also going to add a little bit on the nose, but we are going to be adding something to give the nose a little bit of dimension. I hope you can, there we go, hope you can see that. But just in case it doesn't completely color in, I wanted to add some red to the nose anyway. And now with the bronze marker, Oh, one thing I want to point out that I love, if you're going to be coloring in a large area, the caps snap onto each other so you don't lose them on your table, which is one of my favorite features of these markers. That's really nice. So I'm just going to take this bronze and color everything else in except for the jingle bell. So anything that I didn't color before, you can see how that nib is like nice and small and can get into all those little spaces. And just color him in. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera just for time's sake. You don't need to sit here and watch me color the entire thing in. So I'm going to pause, and when I get back, I will have a colored in deer. I'll be right back. Okay, so I am finished coloring in my deer. And now I'm going to take my die cut and I'm going to line that up over top and tape it in place with some repositionable tape. You can use, you know, whatever you've got, Post-it tape or washi tape. Make sure that you tape that down really well so that it doesn't slip when it's inside your die cut machine. And now I'm going to bring my plates over and sandwich that inside and run this through my Sizzix Big Shot. And because I'm using a heavier weight card, well, I always like to do this, but because I am using a heavier weight cardstock, I like to run it forward and then back through again just to make sure that everything cut well. And take this out of the plates. And carefully remove that tape. And get our little deer out of here. Careful. There we go. Pop him out. Set all that off to the side. So now we have our cute little shape. And then I've already run a piece of lighter weight cardstock through the machine without any stamping. Just, you can see it's just plain on both sides, just die cut another white piece because I want to sandwich these together because some of the ink is still kind of coming through. If this doesn't bother you, which it's really not that bad, but if it doesn't bother you, you could leave it like this. But I just wanted it to be pretty and white on the inside. So, oops, so it goes this way. So figure out which way it needs to go to be adhered together. And you can use whatever adhesive that you have. For something like this where I want all over good coverage, I really like using Xyron. They've got several different sizes of sticker makers. This is just called the X for obvious reasons. It looks like an X. And so you want to place the piece with the side that you want the adhesive, gotta get this straight here, with the side that you want adhesive facing downwards so that the adhesive will go on the bottom. And then there's a little pull piece here and you just want to pull that through the sticker maker until it gets to the end of your piece and then just tear that off. And you always want to make sure that you press down so that the adhesive is stuck really nicely to your piece. And you want to peel off the clear backing paper, which will be quite sticky because the adhesive that's not on your project is now on this piece. So I usually just kind of wad that up. And now peel this off and it is like a big sticker. So if you have a little bit of the adhesive that's kind of spider webbing off there, I usually will just take my fingernail and just kind of push that back. That's something that kind of happens frequently with these. But now it's completely covered in adhesive, so I know it's going to adhere really nicely to this tag. So I'm just going to line these two pieces up with the blank piece inside of the piece that I've stamped and colored. press that down. So now it's really pretty on the inside. I'm going to grab the two in the from and my black ink, and I'm going to stamp my two from on the inside of my tag, like that. And I'm done with the ink now. And I'm going to fold this over and kind of line that up and grab my bone folder just to give myself a good crease there at the fold. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. So now we've got a nice pretty tag. It's just about ready to go. I'm going to grab a piece of twine, and this is kind of a copper and white twine, and this, I just cut it to 8 inches, just whatever, however large you want your loop. And you're just going to run that through the hole that die cut and just fold it over and just tie a knot at the top, like so. And I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the excess of those tails off. And now I wanted to add just a little bit of embellishment, put that back over again a little bit, to the front. So I'm using a jelly roll pen, and this is a Starburst in just kind of the clear silver color. And I'm gonna apply that onto the jingle bell just to give that a little bit of shimmer and shine. You could use whatever you want, a wink of Stella, any kind of shimmer pen that you've got. It just adds a little nice touch there to the jingle bell. And then for the dimension on the nose, to make him look more like a Rudolph, I'm using this staz-on Studio Glaze in the St. Valentine color. It is a, I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's kind of, well, it's a glaze that has color, and it will dry raised. It gives you like a little bit of a dome or a gem look to it, which is really, really pretty. Now you could also put a rhinestone or a gem or something here, but these are really nice because you can make them different shapes and sizes. So it's got a really nice little fine tip to it. Be careful not to squeeze too much. So you want to squeeze just a little bit of a dollop there on the nose and let that dry. It will take a little while for it to dry. You can speed up the drying time with your heat tool if you want to. So I'm going to set this off to the side just so I don't run my hand through it and show you again what the finished tag looks like. So I've got a little bit of shimmer on the jingle bell and that nice raised nose at the pretty twine. And I love that this is a front and back. Got your little space inside to put your to and from. So like me, if you're still wrapping gifts and you need some gift tags, I thought I'd share this really fun idea using the Stampin Up Seasonal Chums deer. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a really happy holiday season. Please check out my channel for more videos. I've got card tutorials and product reviews on there. Thank you so much. This is Heather. Have a great day. Bye.